In this video, we'll explore how to use Canva's shadow effect for text and understand how adjusting offset, direction, blur, and transparency can transform your designs. Start by opening a design and adding your text. Enlarge and center the text for better visibility. Head over to the Effects tab in Canva and click on the Shadow option. Once selected, a menu will appear with the default settings: offset at 50, direction at -45, blur at 0, and transparency at 40. These are Canva's starting numbers. Here is how each setting works. Offset controls how far the shadow is positioned from the text. When set to 0, the shadow completely disappears, making it invisible. As you slide it to the right, the shadow becomes more pronounced and moves further from the text. At the maximum setting of 100, the shadow is at its farthest point. Direction determines the angle at which the shadow falls. Moving the slider lets you position the shadow anywhere around the text. At -180 degrees and at +180 degrees, the shadow will align in the same spot. Next is blur. By default, the shadow is sharp and defined with a setting of 0. Sliding to the right adds softness and diffusion, making the shadow appear less crisp and more blurred. This is great for creating subtle depth. The transparency setting determines how opaque the shadow is. At 0, the shadow is completely invisible, while at 100, it matches the color of the text exactly. Adjusting this slider helps control how bold or subtle the shadow looks in your design. Let's start by changing the font to Lemon Tuesday with a weight of 600, and setting both the font and background colors to red. First, swipe to highlight the text, then click Effects. Adjust the settings to the following: offset to 20, direction to 45, blur to 45, and transparency to 100. Keep the shadow color black. Next, click Duplicate and stack the copy directly on top of the original. Click out of the text to deselect it. Then swipe across the text again, click Duplicate, and stack the new copy on top of the previous one. Use Position to ensure everything is perfectly centered. Now open Effects again. Adjust the settings to offset 10, direction 93, and blur 10. Keep transparency at 100, but this time change the shadow color to white using the color circle. Once done, duplicate the layer again and center it. And we are done creating this layered, eye-catching 3D text design. I hope you found this content helpful. Consider subscribing to the channel. Thanks for watching.